Listen to me. Right now, the biggest battle you will ever face is not out there in the world. It's in here, inside your own mind. Every fear, every doubt, every excuse that's holding you back, it's all coming from one place, you. And here's the truth that most people never face until you win that battle against yourself. Nothing else in your life will ever change. But the second you decide to step up, to take control, to crush the limits you've placed on yourself, you become unstoppable. Your life, your power, your destiny, it's waiting for you. You know, most people go through life thinking their biggest battles are out there somewhere. They think it's the economy or the boss or that one person who always seems to get in their way. They say, if only life were fair, if only I had the right circumstances, then I could succeed. And I get it. It feels real because it's easier to blame what's outside of us than to look inside. But let me tell you something. Every single person who's truly won, every person who's made a breakthrough, they all discovered the same truth. The real enemy isn't out there. The real enemy is within. It's you. It's the part of you that doubts yourself, that talks you out of your own greatness, that convinces you to settle for what's safe instead of reaching for what's extraordinary. Think about it for a second. How many times have you held yourself back, not because the world stopped you, but because of your own fears? How many dreams have died quietly because of hesitation, procrastination, or self-doubt? That voice in your head, the one whispering that you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, that's your real opponent. That's the battle that determines whether you win your life or just drift through it. And here's the thing, it's not something you can ignore. You can't fight it with anger or frustration. You have to face it. You have to step up and say, I know you're there and I'm not running anymore. See, the struggle inside you is powerful, but it's also predictable. Every time fear comes knocking, it comes with a pattern. It tells you to wait, to compromise, to settle. But every time you push back, even just a little, you take a step closer to the life you've always imagined. And it doesn't have to be some huge, dramatic leap. Real victory is built on the little decisions. Deciding to show up, deciding to act, deciding to refuse to let your inner critic run the show. That's where the true power lies. It's not in avoiding the struggle, it's in learning to master it. And here's something most people never realize. The more you fight yourself, the more energy you waste. You're trying to change the world when the only change that matters is happening inside. When you finally understand that the only real opponent is the one staring back at you in the mirror, everything changes. The fear that used to paralyze you becomes fuel. The doubt that used to limit you becomes a challenge you are determined to overcome. And the beauty of this fight is that it's always personal. No one else can do it for you. No one else can feel your fear. No one else can take the steps you need to take. It's your battle, your life, and your victory. And let me tell you, there's a kind of freedom in owning that. Once you realize that you're the battlefield, you also realize that you hold the power. You have control over the thoughts you feed, the habits you build, the story you tell yourself every single day. You can't always control the outside world, but you can always control your reaction to it. You can't always change the past, but you can decide who you are becoming right now. And the people who succeed in life are not the ones who avoid fear. They're the ones who acknowledge it, stare it down, and keep moving forward anyway. This is the moment where most people quit. They think the struggle means they're not ready or that they're not capable. But the truth is, the struggle is proof that growth is happening. It's proof that you're alive, that you're pushing against old limitations, that you're breaking through the chains you've worn for years. And when you fight yourself with purpose, with focus, with relentless determination, you'll find that the barriers you once thought were impossible to overcome begin to crumble. Because the greatest battles are never fought with fists. They're fought with courage, with clarity, and with the unwavering belief that you can become the person you were meant to be. So I want you to feel this right now, that voice inside, the one that doubts, that hesitates, that fears. It's not your enemy to run from. It's your call to action. It's the signal that you're about to grow, that you're about to take control, that you're about to win the fight that truly matters. Because when you beat the battle within, when you silence the inner voice that says, I can't, the world no longer has the power to stop you. Your life is waiting on the other side of that victory. Now let's talk about honesty. I'm not talking about the polite kind, the kind you use with friends or coworkers. I'm talking about brutal, unflinching honesty with yourself. Because you see, nothing changes until you face the truth about where you really are and what you're really doing. Most people spend their lives lying to themselves. They tell themselves, I'm doing enough, or I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'm just not ready yet. And that little white lie might feel comfortable for a minute, but it builds a wall between you and your potential, keeps you trapped in patterns that don't serve you in a life that isn't yours. The moment you face yourself with honesty, everything changes. You realize where you've been sabotaging your own progress, where you've let fear, excuses, or laziness dictate your actions. And let me tell you, that's not easy because the truth hurts. It's uncomfortable. It makes you feel small. But here's the paradox. It's that discomfort that sparks transformation. The moment you stop pretending, the moment you admit, I haven't been giving my all, or I've been afraid to step up, you unlock the door to real growth. Because change doesn't start with action. It starts with awareness. Ask yourself right now, without excuses, without justification, am I truly giving my best in every area of my life? Am I showing up with the intensity, the focus, the courage required to win my own life? Or am I hiding behind habits, distractions, and comfort? Most people don't even ask these questions because they're afraid of the answers. But the truth is, the answers don't judge you. They just show you where you are and where you need to go. And once you see it clearly, you can make a decision. And that's the power of honesty. It gives you clarity, it gives you direction, and it gives you control. Now, here's something critical: honesty without action is useless. You can see all the ways you've been holding yourself back, and it won't matter one bit unless you choose to act. You have to couple brutal self-awareness with relentless discipline. You have to take the truth and turn it into steps, small steps at first, but steps that lead to momentum. Steps that lead to transformation, because once you're in a reality, once you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility, the possibilities become endless. You become unstoppable, not because the world suddenly changes for you, but because you change for the world. And let's be real, most people are not honest with themselves because it's easier to settle, to coast, to rationalize why they aren't living at their highest potential. But the danger in that is subtle, it's quiet, but it's deadly. Every day that you lie to yourself, every day that you convince yourself that what you're doing is enough, you shrink. You shrink from your dreams, from your purpose, from the greatness that's possible. And over time, those small compromises accumulate into a life you didn't intend to live. That's the cost of dishonesty, and it's more than just wasted time, it's wasted life. But here's the good news: honesty is also your superpower. The moment you stop hiding from yourself, the moment you confront your weaknesses, your fears, your procrastination, you start to reclaim your power. You start to see opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. You start to feel confidence grow because nothing fuels courage like clarity. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require that you suddenly become some flawless version of yourself. It simply requires willingness. The willingness to face yourself every day and ask, am I really showing up for me? And let me remind you, growth is never comfortable. Growth is messy, uncomfortable, and relentless. But every step of honesty you take builds a foundation that no outside circumstance can shake. When you become fiercely honest with yourself, when you refuse to settle, you begin to shape your identity around truth, strength, and purpose. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and you become the architect of your own life. And once that shift happens, everything else, the opportunities, the resilience, the breakthroughs, follows naturally. So I want you to take this moment and feel it deep inside your life. Will never rise above the level of your honesty with yourself. If you continue to hide, rationalize, and compromise, nothing changes. But if you face yourself with courage, admit your mistakes, embrace your weaknesses, and commit to growth, you unlock the life you've always dreamed of. And it starts right here. Right now, let's talk about discipline. Now, I don't mean discipline like punishment or rigid rules. I mean the kind of discipline that builds freedom, that gives you control over your life, that allows you to rise above the chaos and excuses. Because here's the truth: motivation is fleeting. You feel it for a few minutes, a few hours, maybe even a few days. But motivation is like fireflies. It shines for a moment and then disappears. Discipline, on the other hand, is the steady flame that burns long after motivation is gone. It's the invisible force that shapes your life when no one is watching. And if you want to win the battle against yourself, if you want to truly master your life, you must learn to cultivate discipline. Most people avoid discipline because it feels uncomfortable. It feels like sacrifice. They think that to be disciplined, they have to become rigid, joyless, or harsh with themselves, but that's not true. Discipline isn't about restriction, it's about empowerment. It's about choosing what serves you in the long term. Even when your emotions, your cravings, or your fears tell you otherwise, every great success, every life transformed, every person who overcame their limits, they all discovered the same secret: small, consistent choices repeated over time create massive results. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the backbone of greatness. Think about it this way: your habits are the reflection of your discipline. If you leave your choices to chance, if you wait for motivation, if you allow comfort to dictate your actions, you will drift. But when you choose to act intentionally, when you commit to showing up for yourself every single day, you take control of your destiny. It's in the repetition, the practice, the relentless consistency where your inner power grows. It's the daily workout, the extra hour of study, the phone call you didn't want to make, the uncomfortable conversation you needed to have. These are the moments that define you. They don't feel significant in the moment, but over time, they compound into unstoppable momentum. And here's the part most people miss: discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about never failing or never slipping up. It's about creating a system that supports your growth, knowing you will stumble, and refusing to let a setback define you. Every time you recommit after a lapse, every time you choose action over comfort, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't settle, someone who refuses to be controlled by impulses or excuses. That's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Ordinary people chase bursts of motivation. Extraordinary people harness the power of discipline day in and day out until it becomes who they are. And let's be honest, life will challenge you. Every day will bring distractions, setbacks, and temptations designed to pull you off course. But discipline is your anchor. It's what keeps you steady when everything else shakes. It's what allows you to say no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that matter. And here's the beautiful thing: once discipline becomes a habit, it no longer feels like effort. You start to move in alignment with your highest goals almost automatically. You stop wasting energy debating whether to act. You just act. You stop giving power to doubt and fear. You just keep moving forward. Most people want change without discomfort. They want results without the grind. But nothing in life worth having comes without cost. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the structure that transforms chaos into clarity, confusion into purpose, and potential into achievement. And the great news is discipline is available to everyone. It's not a talent, it's a skill, it's a muscle. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Every decision to do what you know is right, even when it's hard, every time you choose persistence over procrastination, you are training yourself to become unstoppable. Here's the challenge: most people underestimate the power of small daily choices. They think success comes from a single monumental effort, but life isn't won in one grand gesture. Life is won in the repeated, consistent decisions that align with your values, your goals, and your vision. Discipline is the invisible force that turns intention into action, action into habit, and habit into a life that can't be shaken by circumstances, fear, or self-doubt. It's the secret that transforms ordinary people to legends, not because they are luckier or smarter, but because they refuse to quit on themselves. So I want you to feel this right now. Your ability to win the battle within depends on your willingness to embrace discipline. It's uncomfortable at first. It's inconvenient, but it's also liberating. The more you practice it, the more your inner critic loses its power, the more your fears shrink, and the more your potential becomes undeniable. Discipline is not a limitation. It is the freedom to become who you were always meant to be. And once you commit to that, nothing can stop you. Let's talk about the story you tell yourself. You see, most people think their past defines them. They think, I failed before, so I'll fail again, or I've made mistakes, so this is just who I am. And because they believe it, they act it out. They live a life that repeats the same patterns over and over. But the truth is, your past is not a prison, it's a teacher. It doesn't dictate your future unless you let it. What really shapes your destiny is the story you tell yourself every single day. And if that story is full of fear, doubt, and limitation, then your life will reflect it. But if you change the story, if you consciously decide what you are capable of, then your life changes too. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it's also the most dangerous if left unchecked. The thoughts you feed yourself, the beliefs you reinforce, the internal dialogue you allow, these are the invisible forces shaping your reality. Most people underestimate this power. They let the inner critic run the show. They repeat the same negative phrases in their head. They replay failures. They focus on what they lack. And slowly but surely their potential slips away. But here's the thing: the mind is also incredibly malleable. It can be trained, reprogrammed, and redirected. You can take control of the voice inside your head and turn it into your strongest ally instead of your worst enemy. And the first step is awareness. You have to notice what you're telling yourself. You have to catch the moments when you say, I can't, I'm not enough, or it's too late. Because these phrases aren't just words, they are commands. Your mind takes them literally. It will seek out proof of those beliefs in your reality. And if you don't intervene, it will build a life around limitation. But the good news is, the same mind that can trap you can also set you free. Every time you consciously choose a new thought, every time you decide to replace I can't with I will, or I'll try, with I'm capable, you are rewiring your brain. You are creating new neural pathways that support success, confidence, and resilience. And here's where most people fail. They want change without the work of changing their internal programming. They hope for a miracle, for an external solution, for some shortcut. But the real transformation is inside. You have to do the mental work. You have to confront the limiting beliefs that have been shaping your life silently, and you have to actively replace them with empowering ones. It's not just thinking positively. It's a deliberate, consistent effort to see yourself differently, to believe differently, to act differently. And the more you do it, the more it becomes automatic. Your mind starts to support your goals instead of sabotaging them. I want you to understand this. You are not your past. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are not the failures you've experienced or the opinions of others. You are the sum of your choices, your focus, and the narrative you tell yourself right now. And the power to rewrite that narrative is entirely in your hands. Every time you interrupt a negative thought, every time you replace a story of limitation with a story of possibility, you are creating a new identity. One that is aligned with your vision, your potential, and your purpose. And the beauty of this is that it's compounding. Small shifts in mindset lead to small changes in behavior. Small changes in behavior create momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence strengthens resolve. And before you know it, the life you once thought was impossible is now your reality. This is why the people who achieve greatness don't just rely on external circumstances. They rely on the power of their minds. They don't let their past dictate their future. They reprogram themselves to believe they can overcome, they can succeed, and they can thrive. But let me be clear, this doesn't happen overnight. You will stumble. Old patterns will fight back. Negative thoughts will creep in. That's natural. But what matters is that you keep catching them, keep interrupting them, keep replacing them with new empowering truths. Every time you do this, you strengthen your identity, you reinforce your potential, and you move closer to the life you're capable of living. The mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the less power fear, doubt, and self-sabotage have over you. So I want you to feel this deeply. Your thoughts create your reality. Your inner voice shapes your life. And the moment you take responsibility for what you feed your mind, the moment you choose to tell yourself a story of possibility, strength, and resilience, everything changes. You become unstoppable, not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because your mind now works for you instead of against you. Your story is in your hands. Rewrite it. Now let's talk about pain. Most people try to avoid it. They try to run from it, numb it, or deny it. And it makes sense. Pain hurts. It's uncomfortable. It shakes you. It challenges everything you thought you knew. But here's the truth. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal. Pain is a teacher. Pain is the compass pointing you to where growth is waiting. Every struggle, every disappointment, every heartbreak, every failure you've ever experienced is not there to stop you. It's there to push you, to shape you, to awaken the strength you didn't know you had. See, the people who succeed, the people who rise above, they all understand this secret. Suffering is inevitable, but misery is optional. You can let pain defeat you, or you can let it refine you. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you stronger. And the difference between those who live a life of regret and those who live a life of purpose is how they respond to their pain. Pain is the test. It shows you what you're made of. And if you lean into it, if you use it, it becomes one of your greatest allies. Every struggle you faced, every setback, every obstacle, it has given you information. It has shown you your limits, your weaknesses, your fears. And now it's up to you whether that information destroys you or empowers you. Most people run from the lessons in their pain. They ask, why me? Why is this happening? And they stay stuck in the question. But the people who break through ask, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to become stronger, wiser, better? That shift in perspective is everything. Pain is no longer an obstacle. It becomes fuel. Fuel for growth, fuel for action, fuel for transformation. Think about the moments in your life that hurt the most. The times when you felt broken, rejected, or defeated. Those are the moments that, if you allow them, can define you forever. Or if you choose, those are the moments that can become the fire that lights your path. Every time you transform frustration into focus, every time you turn failure into a lesson, you are turning pain into power. You are taking something that tried to hold you back and using it to push yourself forward. That is the secret to mastery over yourself. And let's be honest, using pain as fuel isn't easy. It requires courage. It requires honesty. It requires a willingness to feel uncomfortable, to embrace what most people avoid, and to look at your struggles not as a curse, but as a tool. Every successful person you've ever admired has learned to harness their pain. They have taken disappointment and transformed it into determination. They have taken criticism and transformed it into clarity. They have taken failure and transformed it into focus. And they did it consistently, day after day, moment by moment, refusing to let circumstances dictate their life. The most powerful thing about pain is that it's universal. Everyone experiences it. No one is exempt, but not everyone uses it. That's the dividing line between those who live small lives and those who leave a mark. Pain is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, how much talent you have, or what opportunities you get. Pain comes for all of us. But power comes to those who refuse to be defeated by it. Power comes to those who say, I will not waste this. I will not hide from it. I will learn, I will grow, and I will rise above it. And here's the thing, when you start using pain as a tool, you stop fearing it. You stop letting setbacks shake you. You start to see challenges as invitations, obstacles as opportunities, and adversity as your training ground. You start to live at a higher level because you've realized that your potential is bigger than your problems. And every time you step into your pain and confront it, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought, braver than you thought, and more capable than you ever imagined. This is why life's most successful people don't pray for an easy life. They pray for the strength to rise. They don't wait for the storm to pass. They learn to dance in the rain. And the same is true for you. Your struggles, your failures, your heartbreaks, and your disappointments, they are the very things that can fuel your greatest triumphs. But only if you decide to embrace them, to use them, and to let them teach you. So I want you to feel this deeply, the pain you've experienced, the struggles you've endured, the moments that tried to break you. They are not your enemies. They are the raw materials of your power. And when you learn to turn them into fuel, you become unstoppable. Your pain is your power. Now let's bring it all together, because this is where it all pays off. The ultimate victory, the one that matters more than anything else, is becoming unstoppable. And I don't mean unstoppable in some fantasy, superhero way. I mean unstoppable in real life. Unstoppable in the face of fear, doubt, setbacks, and every challenge that comes at you. Unstoppable not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you've mastered the inner world that determines everything else. You've faced yourself. You've been honest. You've built discipline. You've reprogrammed your mind, and you've learned to use your pain as fuel. Now it's time to step into the person you were always meant to be. Here's the thing, life will always test you. It will always throw obstacles in your way. People will try to doubt you, circumstances will try to stop you, and your own fears will whisper, you can't. But once you've mastered yourself, none of that matters anymore. Because the strongest force in the universe isn't outside, it's inside. It's your beliefs, your focus, your decisions, and your commitment to never settle for less than what you know you're capable of. And the incredible thing is, once you align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, once you truly take ownership of your inner world, you become a force that can't be stopped. Most people live their lives reacting to external forces. They let the world dictate their energy, their mood, and their decisions. But when you win the battle within, You stop reacting. You start creating. You start designing your life intentionally. You wake up each day not waiting for motivation or luck, but with purpose, direction, and clarity. And every action you take becomes aligned with your highest vision. That is the ultimate freedom. That is unstoppable power. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you choose it every day. Every time you refuse to give in to fear, every time you refuse to settle, every time you push through discomfort, you reinforce your identity as someone who refuses to be controlled by circumstances. That identity becomes your foundation. It becomes your armor. And once that foundation is solid, the world no longer has the power to shake you. You are no longer a victim of life. You are the architect of it. Think about it when you've mastered yourself, when you've built your mental strength, your emotional resilience, and your physical discipline, nothing outside can stop you. You've already conquered the hardest opponent, the one inside your own head. And because of that, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback becomes a lesson, and every obstacle becomes fuel to push even further. You're no longer waiting for permission, validation, or luck. You've given it to yourself. You've claimed your own authority. You've claimed your life. And the beauty of being unstoppable is that it's contagious. When you show up fully, when you act from this place of strength and clarity, you inspire those around you. You elevate the people you work with, the people you love, the people who look up to you. Your energy, your courage, your commitment becomes a signal to the world that extraordinary is possible. And in doing so, you don't just win your own life. You create impact, you create momentum, and you create a legacy that lasts. But let me be clear, being unstoppable doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you never fail. It doesn't mean life stops testing you. It means that failure no longer defines you, fear no longer controls you, and setbacks no longer derail you. It means that you've built a foundation so strong that no external circumstance can break it. It means that you've taken full responsibility for your inner world, and as a result, your outer world transforms. This is the essence of victory. This is the ultimate reward of winning the battle against yourself. And when you live this way, everything changes. Your relationships, your career, your health, your confidence, all of it shifts because you are no longer waiting for life to hand you opportunities. You are creating them. You are shaping them. You are moving forward relentlessly with clarity, with purpose, and with unstoppable force. Every decision, every action, every thought aligns with the life you are building. You become the person who doesn't quit. You become the person who doesn't settle. You become the person who refuses to be limited by anyone or anything. So I want you to feel this now. All the battles you've faced, all the struggles, all the doubts, all the fear, they've led you here. They've prepared you. They've forged you. And now there is nothing that can stop you because you've learned the one truth that changes everything. When you master yourself, when you win the battle within, you win everything. Your life is unstoppable.